How you doing today, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Edmund Charette, and I'll be showing you how to troubleshoot your vehicle today. The general purpose of this speech is to inform people with little or no experience how to troubleshoot a no crank, no start condition in their vehicle. The specific purpose of this speech is that by the end, you'll all know how to save time and money by troubleshooting your car by yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone who drives will at some point in their life experience a no start, no crank condition. AAA estimates that 42% of their customers are due to no crank, no start conditions. With the following basic steps, you can diagnose a no crank, no start condition free with basic tools. Today we will discuss how to properly use jumper cables, how to unlock a C starter and check the voltage, and how to check the starter relay, and finally, how to find the root cause of a battery that's not holding a charge. Much of the info that I'm sharing with you today comes from Scotty Kilmer, an excellent mechanic with 47 years of experience. I am also referencing the Haynes Diagnostic Manual and the Motor Age A1 Study Guide. The first order of business, if your car is not starting, is to hook up jumper cables. As you can see, these jumper cables are labeled with the red is positive, the black is negative. This is a standard battery right here, and this one has the plastic caps on it. But you're going to hook up from the donor vehicle, you're going to hook up positive, then positive on your vehicle, then negative on the donor vehicle, to negative on your vehicle. It's very important you do it in that order to minimize the chance of causing a big spark. Be aware that some batteries have side terminals, like this right here. And sometimes the polarity is not actually marked on these batteries. It is important that you hook up the positive to the positive on these, or else you can short circuit the electrical system and cause permanent damage. When you do jump the car, you need to look at the battery and inspect for corrosion, because sometimes you'll have acid powder built up. Now, according to the Haynes manual, the way that you clean out that acid is to take a wire brush and you scrub it right off the battery terminals right here. Then you apply Vaseline to prevent any further corrosion on the terminals. Now, when you do actually start the vehicle and the donor vehicle and you're charging it, you want to allow these cables here to be hooked up for 5 minutes in order to charge up your battery. Now, I personally had a friend of mine that didn't allow the car 5 minutes to charge, and the car didn't start, and had a series of clicks which indicated that there was not enough juice to turn over the starter motor. Now, if your car still doesn't start, you're not out of luck yet. There's still more we can do before taking the car to a shop. Now, if your starter is not cranking, this trick might do the job. The first step you want to do is to actually find your starter motor, and this is what a traditional starter motor looks like. As you can see here, this gear right here is actually what turns over the engine. And as these starters wear out, basically the pieces of the electronics wear out, and they clog up in the gears, and that can cause the starter to seize. So what you have to do is you have to actually hit the starter motor with a sledgehammer, and that can sometimes unlock the dust, and that can get the starter working again. Scotty Kilmer recommends that if you use a breaker bar or a large screwdriver and hard to reach starters, because sometimes you don't have enough space to actually swing the sledgehammer into the starter. Now, the first time I saw somebody do this, I thought it was a joke. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that it works, and I have personally done it myself. Now, if hitting the starter didn't work, you're not out of luck yet. You can also test the voltage at the starter and starter solenoid. Now, there's 2 pins right here where you actually hook up a multimeter, and you can get a multimeter at any hardware store for around $10. And right there, you would put it on volts direct current, and you would make sure that you have 12 volts at the starter solenoid. And if the starter is receiving the correct voltage and it's not turning on, at that point you can determine that the starter is faulty. Excuse me. Now, if you have no voltage at the starter, get ready for the final step of troubleshooting. If no voltage is at the starter, there's one more thing you can do to try to fix your car by yourself with minimum tools. What you can do is you can swap the relays. So you want to go under the hood, you want to find the fuse box. You take the starter relay out and you swap it with another relay of the same type. If your starter is still not cranking over and you still don't have voltage at the starter, at this point it can be determined that you have a serious electrical problem that needs to be taken to a professional. So you've done everything that you could. And at this point, if you have gotten the car started, you may have just fixed a symptom. You might not have fixed the cause of the issue. That brings me to my final point. If your battery keeps going dead, you could possibly have a bad alternator, because the alternator is possibly not charging up the starter. This is what a standard alternator looks like, ladies and gentlemen. See right here, the pulley is actually what generates, well, the belt goes on the pulley and that generates copper wiring here, which generates the electricity to charge a battery. Now, as the copper wiring wears out, it will stop generating electricity, which could leave you with a dead battery. It's a very common mistake that people will replace the battery when it's actually the alternator that's at fault. So the way that you're going to test that is you take your multimeter, just a standard multimeter, put it on volts direct current, take that positive probe, you put it right there on the pin on the alternator, and you should observe 13 volts. Now, if you do not observe 13 volts, you can determine that your alternator is in fact faulty. According to Scotty Kilmer, 60% of clients misdiagnose the batteries. I have personally seen misdiagnosis on very many customers' cars, and let me tell you, it can be an expensive ordeal, with some truck batteries coming in to over $200 a piece. So, ladies and gentlemen, with these basic steps, you can diagnose your no crank, no start condition for free. Just to recap, we went over how to properly use jumper cables, how to unlock a C starter and check the voltage, how to check a starter relay, and finally, how to find the root cause of a battery not holding a charge. Now, you can take your car to the shop and you can drive it for today, or you can learn how to fix your car yourself and you can drive it for life. That's all for now, folks. Checking out.